Welcome back to the Singh Series on Experience on Air. Today we have a very special guest, Colby Garza, one of my really good friends.
Appreciate that.
All the way, you were from Burleson, out in New York. How's Buffalo treating you, bro?
I love it, man. It's definitely a different pace, but obviously, you kind of gotta go with the flow and figure out where that is, and then grab onto it.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome. Well, we've already been hanging out all day. You got in, you flew in this morning. So for me, it feels like, there's so much to talk about. We've already been talking all day, and, we went to my real estate team meeting.
For sure.
We had lunch at Prince Lebanese. So, we've just been having an adventure all day. But, I'm going to just hit you with the question, who is Colby Garza?
Ooh, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's the first question we always start off with.
Man, I think I'm someone that really cares about what what energy I put on this world, and I want to show everyone as far as like who I am on a daily basis. If I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna let you know. If I'm having a good day, I'm gonna let you know. But just being honest and giving that to everybody. So like, it could be day one I meet you or year 5. No matter what, you're going to get Colby Garza. And I hope that what I'm saying translates to, how you've seen us even grow.
100%. My sister kind of even jokes. She's like, everyone knows what Colby's always doing because he puts it out there. But the thing is it's who you are. It's
For sure.
That's who you are as a person. And I mean, I've known you and I've seen you grow. I've seen you from, in college in leadership roles at UNT.
Sure.
Then, from there you grew into, you started building homes, and then from building homes, you started all the way, selling them, you helped people, you represented them, and now you're back to kind of selling homes, and then, back to the next step, developing in New York.
For sure.
So take people on the journey. Talk to me about your college experience. How was college?
Yeah. So college was an interesting time for me because 2008 happened, and I thought I was honestly going to be in real estate because that's what my dad was. My dad had his office from 85 to 2008.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is awesome. I'm going to be a real estate agent, not even knowing what was going on in 2000. Because, I was 17, 18 years old and studied for my test. And then it was kind of like 2008 hit, and we just lost everything. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? And my dad's kind of like, you go to college. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what? I didn't study for my SATs. I literally went to my SATs and walked in and walked out. I just scribbled on there because I had to do it to, pass high school. And then I did junior college, and I went to University of North Texas. And that's where I really transitioned to that leader, like you were talking about. Joined the fraternity, which I didn't want to do. And then I went from not wanting to join a fraternity to being IFC president.
Yep.
And that was something even totally different. And you've done that too.
Yep.
But during that time, no one tells you really how to become a leader. You kind of just fumble into it, So that was my college experience, and working 3 jobs and really learning my time management. Like if I tell you I'm going to be there at 9:30, and at 9:30 to 10, I'm going to be there at 9:30 to 10 because at 10 I got to get in my car that might not start, and I'm going to Grapevine Mills Mall and I'm clocking in.
Yeah.
So I think college really taught me how to do that.
No, that's amazing. And I think that's a lot of thing that people don't realize is college, it's not for everyone, but it's important in the sense you really get to think about it. How many of your groomsmen went to college with you? At least 6 or 7 of them. And that's how you met other people that you just kind of have all these important memories and bonds with. Because a lot of people tell me hey, I'm in college right now, and my biggest goal is to just get out quickly and start making money. And, for me, I don't think college is for that. You have the whole rest of your life to make money. And so my approach of life is always just enjoy the moment because, there's not a rush. There's no rush to finish college. There's no rush to start a family. Whenever it happens for you, just let it happen instead of trying to, rush into things. And then that's where things don't work out, And so every single person that talks to me about oh, I just want to hurry up and start making money. I'm like, dude, enjoy the college experience because those are 4 years that you're meant to make mistakes, learn, meet new people, make friends. And so so after college, you went to work into commercial real estate, right?
Yep.
What was that experience like? Tell people, everyone thinks real estate is easy and everyone thinks like, oh, commercial real estate is what I want to go into. What was your commercial real estate experience like?
It was rough, dude. It was hard.
Yeah. How many months did you last?
Almost a year. And some family stuff happened, so I went back home and started my own thing. But it was, dude, that taught me a lot as far as no one's going to teach you how to make money, right? And that's what I always ask people when I go somewhere. My buddy and I were having this conversation earlier. I'm saying whenever I went somewhere, in college especially, right, being broke, what's the number thing I always thought about? Money. Yeah. So I get there and I'm like, how do you make money? And if no one can tell me that or show me, then I'm like, you kind of like stutter around and you're not confident because you don't know when your next check's going to come in. So it was dog eat dog world, man. And then whenever I transitioned to residential, that was even more so because you realize that if you tell someone, hey, I'm going to buy this lot and I'm going to build a home on there, well, he told his cousin, who told his brother, who told his sister, and then all of a sudden they bought 3 lots next to you that you plan on buying. Yeah. And you're like, what the heck? Well, and it happened that fast. So that mentality, like, hey, you got to watch yourself, really transitioned, but in a good way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%. And your experience, like, I know your story, like, probably just as bad, like, because, I mean, we've talked daily since, like, what, 2018, 2019?
Dude, even before that.
Yeah, so, like, I know kind of how it's been. So, the reason I'm going to ask this question is because you didn't have the typical real estate journey. You know what I mean? Like, yes, your father was in the business, and then you went into commercial. You didn't like it. They weren't treating you well. Yeah. You realized that, hey, like, no one's going to help me. So from there, you went straight into like, kind of building homes. Yeah. So what was that first process like, building your first home? So because, like, obviously I know your story really well, but for the people that don't, like, how many lots did you buy? How did you do it? What was that? What was that like process like for you?
And I probably haven't told a lot of people this or like been public about that. I mean, I tell people my story to ask, right? Yeah. So at this point, I took a hard money loan out. Yeah. I had 1 lot. Built on that. While I'm building on this, I was working at Raising Cane's, I was working at Lowe's, and I was a real estate agent, right? And I did not sleep. Yeah. Like, I would literally work from Lowe's from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m., change in the car, go to Raising Cane's from 4 till like 1 a.m., and then somehow, some way, I had to fit, work in how does a business work? How can I sell real estate, right? And so honestly, during that time, I was probably getting like 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night, and that lasted for like the first year. Yeah. Because I remember selling my first house, and I don't even know how this happened. I do know how this happened, but literally, I'm sitting there, and it was either pay my car payment or buy a ceiling fan, and I'm like, okay, let's see. I need my credit to be good. So I can't not pay this car payment, but also I got to sell this house. So forget it. You know what? I'm buying the ceiling fan. I went to Home Depot, bought the ceiling fan. The house was on the market, I think, maybe 2 days at this point. And it was like $110,000, right? Yeah. Which I'm like, bro, oh my God, this is so much money, because I had no idea. Yeah. So I'm sitting there, put it on the market. And I'm walking through Home Depot trying to find. I wasn't gonna go cheap though, no matter what, right? I'm not gonna buy like a box fan $50. Like 100%. I wanted to buy a $150 nice fan, So I'm sitting there. Right when I'm about to buy the fan, I get a call from an agent. She's like, "Hey, I have these clients from California. They want to buy your house." I said, "Okay, awesome. It's not finished. We still have to do A, B, and C." And she said, "No problem. They'll front the money." So they put money in escrow for me to finish this house, and they closed it cash in 10 days.
That's amazing.
And then it was like light bulb went off. Yeah. I'm like, okay, you're not going to get another chance at this. You got to go all in. Yeah. That next week, I told everyone at work, at Lowe's, at Raising Cane's, I'm rolling out. Yeah. At the same time that this was going on, I was selling my buddy a house I think my commission check was like $7K. Haven't made that yet, right? I'm thinking like, hey, this $7,000 like can hold me for like 6-7 months. You know, obviously it couldn't, but in my head I was thinking that. And this hasn't closed yet. And I was like, you know what, dude? Burn the boats, burn them, forget it. If I don't get this check, figure it out.
Yeah.
And after that, I quit everything, went full time, got that commission, and then it was like off.
Yeah.
And I really have to think, but during the same time though, I was going bank to bank asking for money.
Yeah.
And if you looked at like, I started asking people for money to develop.
Yeah.
And you looked at my development, it was like map color pencils. You know, like on a survey.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like if I look at myself now, I'd be laughing because I'm like, this kid's coming to this place asking for $300,000 loan on paper with map color pencils. Like I would be like, I don't know who this guy is, but what's going on? So that all happened, man. But honestly, burn the boats really took me to the next level.
100%. And like, I mean, like that's like a mentality thing, right? In the sense, like it's not easy to do that, like, you know, but the thing is you took the risk because you were like, it's either I stay clocking into Raising Cane's, I stay clocking into Lowe's, or I kind of step up and do something else and do something different with my life. And so you didn't have the traditional like route, because I think right after that you didn't represent a whole lot of buyers and sellers. You went straight into building and developing. So, you know, just for the people who don't know you, how many houses have you say you built in your career, and how many lots have you developed?
Oof. In the hundreds?
In the hundreds, yeah.
Somewhere around there?
Yeah. And I mean, I think in your busiest year, what was the number of houses you built?
Probably around 20.
Yeah.
A little over 20.
Yeah, I think that was 2019,
yeah.
right? Like
yeah.
right before COVID, right?
Yeah.
That was, and you were building a lot in, you were in like, was it Cleburne?
Cleburne.
Yeah, Cleburne was kind of, and that's where your family's originally from, correct?
Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill.
Yeah.
And then you guys lived in Cleburne for a little while.
Yep.
And then obviously you built your beautiful home in Burleson.
Yeah, yeah.
And
still have gray hairs from that one.
Yeah. And that was during COVID.
That was during COVID, dude.
Yeah.
So whenever COVID hit, I had 6 homes on the ground. I had not including my house, and dude, it was like, I thought I like, from the nightmares of like my dad losing everything.
Yeah.
Bro, that was like on my doorstep knocking.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you remember me? I'm back.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there, and I told Jenny, she was my wife at the time. You know, we just got married. I'm like, babe, I got 6 homes on the ground. Some are like we're about to pour the foundation, and some are we're just finishing up the touch-up paint and about to put it on the market.
Yeah.
So I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then building our house, you know, like you sold our house in Dallas.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, so we're like, and at that point I really burned the boats because we put it on the market when we're almost done with it, you know, whatever. And all that stuff happened. And 2020, man, really changed my entire life. You know,
I think it was a big pivot year for everyone, but
for everyone.
What was the reason it changed your life specifically?
Man, so during all that, I lost my brother too.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So in August, so 6 homes on the ground, working my ass off, building our home, trying to figure out life in general during COVID, trying to have a baby, all this stuff. And then
because a lot happened. Asher was born May 2020, right?
2021.
May 2021.
But we found out we were
okay.
having a baby.
Yeah, and Casey passed away.
So Casey passed away. A week later, we found out we were pregnant.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he had a house on the ground too.
Oh yeah, I remember you. So you helped him and your sister-in-law finish that.
Yep.
And I remember how stressed you were, because in the sense, like, you know, you have your own stuff going on, but this is family.
Yep.
And I remember, you know, and that's one thing about you that I know is, like, you know, family always comes first. So how do you keep your priorities managed? You know, with business, family, how do you keep like kind of a focus?
Man, so that's changed drastically too since 2020, right? And you know, dude, so at that point, whenever I found out my brother, or, you know, brother passed away, all that stuff from the heart, you know, he had some kind of heart disease or whatever the case is. And everyone's like, go to the doctor. I'm like, whatever. I don't got time for the doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I got 7 homes, including now my brother's and that, you know, ours.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you need to go. I went to the doctor, and they're like, hey, you're on the same path. Like, if you want to see your mid-30s, you got to, like, drastically change everything.
Yeah.
So I lost weight, all that stuff. My focus went like, I'm about to have a kid.
Yeah.
I can't be all in this business right now. I got to make sure I'm around and not my business.
Yeah.
And so then now I look at family over business, but it's never like, oh man, I'm just going to like sit here and take care of my family, because no matter what, like, you have to be all in on either or, right? So I do like not even 33% three ways. I do like 20% on my business. I go 60% or more on my family, and then the rest to my health. Yeah. So 20% on health, 20% on business, 60% on family. I'll just say that, right? Yeah. But those 20%, like, I'm all in. Yeah. Like you saw this morning, dude, I've been up since 3:30, and like, but this is a business day. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to stop.
Exactly.
You know, or say I'm tired. Yeah. No shit, we're tired, right? I wake up tired, but that's what keeps it going, because I know, like, even in the morning, all right, 4:30, bro, I don't like, people like hit me up on Instagram like, oh man, dude, I wish I could wake up at 4:30. That's awesome. Dude, I'm not having fun waking up at 4:30. It's cold as hell in Buffalo, dude. When you get in your car, like, you're shaking, right? Yeah. You go out for a run, you're shaking. Like, you can never get warm. So that's where it's like, you got to get in, get out. So then you have that time for your family. So there is no balance. Like, what's his name? Roger said, there's no balance. Yeah. It's just, what do you want to put it at that moment to make you successful in those realms? Yeah. You know?
No, that makes a complete sense, because, you know, like, there's like, it's a madness. It's trying to, like, you know, you're trying to control insanity. You know, there's always things happening and stuff like that. And I mean, even I'm noticing that these days. Like, there's so much going on. There's always, you know, there's family events. There's friends having events. You just have to pick and choose. Yeah. I mean, you know, your priorities. And like, the thing is you can't give too much to your business. You can't give too much to your friends. You have to find that happy medium balance. And so, you know, obviously your wife plays a big role in it. How does she keep you grounded? How does she keep you, like, kind of focused?
Dude, so she's the first person I ask, like, hey, what do you think about this? Yeah. And 9 out of 10 times, she's going to tell me the right answer. And 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to be the answer I want to hear, because I'm like you, man. Like, we're headstrong. We want, like, business first always. Like, hey, do you think this networking event's a good idea? For us, we're like, we can meet the next builder. We can meet the next listing. We can meet, you know, in our head, we're already doing this dialogue. And she's like, well, what about, like, spending time with us? Yeah. But she's always supportive. Like the half Ironman crap and, you know, running 100 miles and doing these races and all that. She's never told me no. She's like, hey, think about how much time it's going to take. And then I really soak it in, like, shoot, you're right. Okay, this is going to take like maybe 20, 30 hours a week. Do I have that? No. Yeah. So she's supportive on the things that I need to be supportive on, and tells me no on the things that she needs to just say, hey, we're done here. Yeah. You know, 100%. Which is huge, man. Yeah. That's what made me grow.
Yeah, 100%. And which one of your races have you, like, most, like, you feel like, dang, this was tough, but I did it? I know you did the 100-mile, right?
So that's another story. But no, I didn't. 3 weeks out, I bailed because I needed to be home.
Yeah. You did how many marathons have you done now?
Man, I don't even know. Maybe, shoot, I don't know. Probably 10 or more.
Yeah. And are you training for something right now?
I'm just having fun.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like I'm just having fun, but I'm doing the Buffalo Marathon.
But
like, that's just fun.
Yeah,
but
that's exciting, man. Because like you know, I remember, like, I know the big thing that you're getting ready for is your brother 38 miles. Correct?
Yeah, 38 miles, man.
38 miles in August. Mm-hmm. That's you know, that's exciting. And when you started doing that, just in remembrance and honor of him, right?
Yeah. So I was sitting there, and for me, man, I saw a lot of people, like, drinking on their brother's birthday, or, you know, when someone passes, right, and stuff like that. And I remember going to my wife, or, you know, Jenny, and I was like, hey, I think I want to run his birthday. And she's like 36 miles? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I want to run his birthday. She didn't say anything. She was like, she knew it was going to be, dude, August in Texas, you know, as well as I know, it's over 100 degrees. It's hot, you know? And I said, yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to start at 4:30 in the morning, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm thinking like 3 o'clock. And because I wanted to show my nieces and nephews, like, hey, this is hard for me, but I'm going to include y'all, you know? So I ran from my house to his grave, from his grave to their house, and from their house back to my house. Yeah. And dude, it was rough. Yeah. I was crying. Yeah. Like, not even from the pain, just from like, God dang it. Like, what am I doing here? Yeah. And dude, I started out with 4 men following me. They fell out. Yeah. 100%. Yo, God bless my cousin though, Fernando. If you listen to this, man, he hung in there like 2 or 3 times, and he was just, you know, throwing up and all that kind of stuff. But nah, man, I wanted to leave an impact, and so 38 miles this year. Yeah, man, and I mean, I think that's something that will stick with your sister-in-law, Jenny, Asher, everyone, and all your friends watching. Like, you know, I'm very proud of you because I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, you know, we talk a lot about a business, we talk a lot about family on this podcast. You're the first person that's kind of brought up health, which is important, you know. So I'm excited to see you finish the 38 miles because I know you'll do it. So, you know, congratulations on all your success on. I appreciate, you know, it, I know you say you're just doing it for fun, but it's still accomplishments. No, for sure. And so keep up the good work on that. So now kind of take us back. So you've been building, you kind of, now you're in Buffalo, you know, again, you did that for family. Mm-hmm. And so how are you liking New York? What is Buffalo, New York? What is Western New York like? Dude, Western New York is, it's a breath of fresh air for me, but also at the same time, I was talking to my buddy today about that too. It's like, imagine going from kindergarten to high school, pass all the classes, do great, you're going to college, and then all of a sudden someone like, hey, you have the knowledge of going to college, but we're going to put you back in kindergarten. Yeah. No one knows you. No one knows the grades that you made. No one knows that you're valedictorian. Yeah. No one knows that you're, you know, football state champ. Yeah. No one knows you, bro. You're back here coloring in the in the lines if you can. So Western New York is awesome, but I'm having to rebrand my entire everything. Yeah. Like, I'm starting from not even scratch. Like, I'm starting from like, who's Colby Garza? We don't know your last name because it's such a small community. People know your last name. Yeah. People know what school you went to. People know your family. People know everything about you. And so that's the hard part. Yeah. But I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's a grind, right? Like, I think there's some real estate agents out there, and like the thing is like, it's something that you've always known, it's something you've always been around, right? Like, you've always been around real estate your whole entire life. So it's like, it's crazy because it's the same thing in every market. And like, I think that's what's going to be crazy to see is, because I mean, you're already doing it. You got your first couple closings coming up. Yeah. You haven't even been licensed a year in New York. Like, you know, so the thing is that's the proof right there. Like, you know, you've built, you've developed, now you've sold real estate. Now you're going to go over there. Now it's just the same stuff, just a different location, in which, you know, I know you kind of went to the corporate life for a minute, you know, just kind of trying to figure it out. Yeah. So what made you go to like, okay, hey, you know, corporate life, this isn't for me. I'm going to go back into entrepreneurship. What was that decision like? Yeah, man. So the whole thing with, you know, with real estate, and I didn't want to do real estate in college or think about it because of what happened, right? When we lost everything. So now I'm on this side of like, dude, you know how hard it's going to be from starting to scratch? Yeah. You know what? Let's just see what happens. So we remodeled the house, and I was applying to places, and I'm like, man, I haven't done corporate, you know? I did these odd jobs or whatever the case is, but I've never done a true 9-to-5. Yeah. And at this time, I was waiting for like my real estate license to become active in New York, find a broker and all that. So I went to 9-to-5 for 2 months, bro. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just thinking like, and this is not shitting on anyone that does 9-to-5. You know? Yeah. This is just me. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, so I wake up this time. I do 25 cold calls a day. Yeah. I have a lunch at this time. I get off at this time. And in my head, I'm telling myself, I'm doing it for the benefits. I'm doing it for the health benefits. I'm doing it for this. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, dude, this is the worst thing ever. You know? Like, this is horrible. Yeah. And then, you know, I do 75 hard. So it's a challenge where you have to work out twice a day, drink a gallon of water, eat healthy, all this kind of stuff. And I'm walking the parking lot, and I'm talking to like my broker, bankers, you probably, someone else. And I'm like, all right, once I get my license active, I'm going to give it till June. So all of a sudden I'm here. This is, I don't even know, January.
Yeah.
And my broker, finally got a broker. She met with me on Tuesday, right? I called her on Sunday. She met with me Tuesday. Tuesday I said, hey, I have all my classes passed. I'm ready to roll. And she's like, okay, well, Thursday you should be active. I'm like, okay, but I can't quit. She's like, you ready for leads? Like, you ready to start working this? And in my head, I'm like, man, I got to tell Jenny, like, you know, get your doctor's appointments in and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's like Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm done. That Monday, I went to the office a couple days. I told Jenny, I'm sorry, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, whatever insurance plan we got to buy to get you the best doctors, whatever. But I'm done. And then, but I said, Colby, if you use this 8 hours a day, like you were in there, and you put it in this, bro, let's start from scratch and let's just go to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So that day, man, after that, I just like shifted my gears back. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. So how has it been transitioning from being a builder? How has it been from being a builder to being, you know, kind of going back to being an agent?
For sure.
Yeah. Like what's that been like? You know, like I know you're going to kind of get back into developing, and you're just trying to figure out the market over there. And I mean, we've been talking a lot, but like how has that been for you? Like, are you enjoying being a real estate agent? What's the toughest thing about being a real estate agent?
You're still on someone else's time, right? But at the same time, dude, I love it. Like it's awesome. Mm-hmm. I think building is different because you don't get to see the buyer's face.
Yeah.
Here, like if I'm helping a buyer out, which I have, you know, a few buyers that we're about to close, the face, dude, when you find them that perfect home, and they just like light up, and they're like, Colby, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. Like you go on the ride with them. And that's where it's like, for me, it's like starting to get addicting. Mm. Building is totally different. Building is like, you want to turn, you know, pieces of wood or whatever into an art piece, right? Or like you want to build your dream out and see if people like it. Versus there, you're just trying to find them their dream home. Yeah. And it's an honor.
Yeah. And I mean, you were talking to me about today, you were kind of telling me how, you know, this bar that you've been looking for, their son wanted his own space. And I mean, I heard you talking to the buyer, and, you know, I heard the excitement in her voice where, hey, she got the clear to close. Hey, we're going to be able to close soon. Even like, you know, there were so many moving pieces. And I mean, you know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's all satisfying, right? Like whether you're building a house from the ground up, you know, like you've done that so many times. Now it's just kind of a different aspect. Like, you know, when you were building, you were kind of giving those people their dream home. Yeah. You were building it. Now you're just on the sales side of it. What do you think the most difficult part of building the homes was?
Dude, just the day in, day out, and dealing with the different characters. Yeah. Like you might have an HVAC guy come in and like, that plumber stole my ladder. Yeah. And then your framing guy just like drank 30 beers on the job site, OSHA, you know, whatever. But he drank 30 beers on the job site and he falls asleep. Yeah. That's happened a couple times, but obviously they didn't work for me after that. But it's dealing with the different personalities, but then you got to kind of massage it to where everyone's in sync. And they build this home because, dude, I was building these homes quick. Yeah. You know, and without the proper management and just understanding everyone's human, that's when it happens. But the mistakes, bro. Like you walking by and you see that baseboard and you're like, that should have been a little closer. Yeah. Or you looking at that bead board, you're like, that should have been a little better. You know?
You know, one thing that I've always loved about you is you've been kind of like an open book. You know, you even dropped a YouTube video with our boy CG and how to build a home. You kind of, you were like the process, right? You showed that. I think you shot that in late 2019 or early 20?
Late 2019.
Yeah. Late 2019, you dropped a YouTube video, a tutorial out there. Like, you know, a lot of people don't share their knowledge. A lot of people don't share the game that they know. But you went out and you paid someone to shoot a video.
Now that you remind me.
Yeah. You paid someone and you taught them. Like, you were like, I'm going to put this on YouTube. I want to teach people how to build. I'm going to call it the process. And, like, you know, that's one thing that I always admired about you is, like, if people came towards you respectfully, you were going to share information. And, like, you know, that's huge because a lot of people, they try to, like, keep information away. So, you know, what was the quickest turnaround that you built a home in? 60 days, right?
45 days.
Oh, 45 days thing.
45 days. We worked on it, like, literally day and night.
Yeah.
And that was, dude, that
one was in Burleson or Cleburne?
No, Cleburne.
Cleburne. And so what's the biggest thing that changed? Because I mean, obviously the pricing, material, supply and demand has changed, but you kind of touched about it. 110,000 is what the first house you sold. And I think, we sometimes you used to run comps on the houses that you built, and we're like,
makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, 2 years later, literally the homes that you built and developed for 110 and you sold for 110, and you even gave like 3-4K in closing costs. Today it's crazy to think that those homes are selling for 300K plus.
Easy.
Yeah.
One thing though, I was telling my buddy Thomas this other day. I said, some of these people cashed out and they got generational, like, changing money.
Yeah.
Some people, man, I built them that home. And they were calling me, hey, I just cashed out my home. I have $120,000. Are you building any more homes that are 150? I'm like, yeah, in 2018.
Yeah.
This was like 6 months ago. I'm like, that doesn't happen. But they have that money. So it is what it is. But I know I'm going to be blessed at the end of the day for helping, someone get that dream home and cashing out. But, dude, that house that I sold for $110,000, I think that sold like 8 months ago for $225,000.
That's crazy. Yeah.
No changes, no updates, still the same refrigerator, still microwave, oven, paint color, everything, man.
No, that's amazing.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, and so how soon do you think you're going to start building in New York? Any plans, or too soon to talk about?
Man, so we're actually looking at a property right now to do more of a flip. Mm-hmm. I learned how to do, I didn't learn how to do it, but the house that we have right now that we purchased in New York, it was like a remodel, which I didn't know that it was going to be a remodel until I got there. And Jenny was like, this is going to be a remodel. I was like, all right, we're going to do this. But so we're looking, man, like ASAP.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start, hitting the ground running.
And that's awesome. Because, one thing about you is, I've helped you with a lot of your real estate transactions here. Yeah. I know you have residential rentals here. Yeah. You have commercial rentals here. You dabble with a little bit of everything. Is there anything that you prefer more? Do you prefer the residential rentals? Do you prefer the commercial rentals? What do you prefer?
Land.
Bro,
and I tell this to everybody and whoever listens to me. And another thing I'll say too is if you can buy now. Yeah. Because no matter what, they said, we're only at a 7.3% appreciation. No bank in this country is going to give you 7.3% on your money in the bank, right?
Yeah.
Land, though, there's not going to be more of it. You can't rebuild land.
Yeah.
So buy as much land as you can, and just if you can buy 100 acres, I guarantee you, if you put that through 2 family cycles, they will have generational wealth when they sell that.
100%.
And they'll be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, no,
because it ain't, dude. And I'm not talking about land that's in the middle of nowhere with nothing. I'm talking about land that has access to some kind of utilities, power. It doesn't even have to have water or septic or sewer, because you could do a water well and septic. But if you have something with power lines and some kind of cable infrastructure, buy it 100%. And hold on to it.
100%. And me and you, we talk a lot about like what's happening in Dallas, Collin County. Tarrant County and Johnson County are kind of like the land of opportunity. Probably Johnson County better than anyone else. Like, we talked about what builders are coming out to Itasca. Like, nobody was there.
Bro,
and now you see D.R. Horton doing major developments and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Dude, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And whenever the first time I think it really hit me is whenever I was on one of our developments, and it's like where no one wanted to build, and I look up and I see a helicopter floating around, and then it spins out. When you start seeing helicopters, those are big players. That's the D.R. Hortons. That's the Bloomfield. Those are those guys, scoping out, okay, where is this going? Where does it lead to? Where's the major highways? They don't have time to be driving around cars. Yeah. That's what I do because I can't afford a helicopter. But you bet your money on it. If I can afford a helicopter, I'm going to be in a helicopter scoping out land. That's the best way to do it. But we were talking about this earlier. Like, the corridors are closing, man. If you go to Seagoville, if you're 20 minutes from Oklahoma, you're cashing out. If you're by Waco, you're cashing out. Austin and all, dude, Austin's done. Dude, that's Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
What are you going to get in Austin now? Do you get a shack for $500,000?
Yeah.
So if you find land with utilities, don't even second guess it. Like
100%.
figure out how to buy it.
100%. And what would be your biggest advice to someone that is trying to get into real estate right now, that as an agent?
As an agent, build a brand and don't be scared to bootstrap up and make sure that everyone knows that you are an agent. And that's where I lacked in the beginning. And man, if I had confidence in the beginning, I might be talking to you as a top producer, real estate agent. But I just didn't want to tell anyone what I did because I was just such a humble, like, trying to make it guy. And, you know, I didn't want people to know that I was building homes. Dude, I didn't tell people I was building homes until like 2018. Yeah. That was 3 years of building homes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I just like build homes. You know, if I had that confidence though, like, no, I'm a top producer. I build homes or whatever, then I might have been building a lot more homes. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Well, and the one thing that was crazy was you were building the homes and then you were listing them and selling them too. Yeah. So you represented them. So, I mean, you were at the whole time you were a listing agent as well because you were dealing with negotiating repairs. And like, you know, this is not to brag about Colby or anything like that. Oh, man. But come on now. This guy, you know, like I seen the hard work since 2016, 2017, you know. This guy, he was still making time for his friends. He was building the homes. He was basically a GC. He was building the homes. Then he would get them on the market. Then he would negotiate repairs. And, then after that, he would do a blue tape walk with the buyers. So it was like, man, this guy did it all. And so, like, I mean, I say that, like, it's not easy to accomplish what you did, building 20 homes in 1 year and then selling them all. And then like, kind of just actually having a personal life. So, it's kind of amazing to see that journey and from like a person is in the industry. For sure, man. And like, cause I was at the whole time I was selling homes. I know how much work it takes. I know how difficult it is dealing with builders, dealing with buyers. Like, there's so much that goes into it, but I mean, you were kind of doing it all. You were building them, then you were listing them, and then you were also going through the blue tape walks with them. So, what was the most difficult part of that part of the journey? What do you think was more difficult? Like, obviously not the building part of it, but dealing with you're dealing with buyers agents, you're dealing with buyers' emotions, and so during the blue tape walks, I bet a lot of things came up. Yeah. And how did you kind of move and negotiate and kind of really get them to the finish line?
Dude, I honestly did basically anything they asked.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like it was the hardest thing because you don't want someone to like crap on your work. Yeah. And you gotta like just take it to the face and put a smile on, right? Even though like the caulking underneath the toilet is not gonna do anything. Yeah. And it's already there, but we hit it because the plumber didn't want a big caulking line around the toilet. Yeah. Right? And so I'm like, dude, we gotta put caulking on the toilet. And because you gotta tell other people this too, right? That are a professional in it. Yeah. Right? Like my electrician, he's the best, dude. He's the best hands down. Always came out, always knew what he was talking about, very educated on his craft. And it was like the one person you didn't want to call if you saw that on the repair list. And it could have been like a breaker wasn't flipping or something. Yeah. And he knew. He's like, no, I know that breaker's flipping. He didn't do it right. Yeah. And 9 out of 10 times we'd get there. He would drive to Itasca or a place that he's in Fort Worth. Dude, that's an hour and a half drive. Yeah. And all of a sudden he'd go there, boom, boom. Told you it was flipping. Yeah. And so it was hard, man. Yeah. It's a tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, these people are about to take a 30-year mortgage out on this.
It's their largest investment. So the buyer, what is it? The buyer's always right?
The buyer's always right.
Or no the customer's always right.
Always right. And I take that to the bank till the day. Yeah. Like you're always this is your and I, even when I'm selling homes, I walk through a home, I'll say this is pristine, this is clean. Buy this house. And I have that buyer or that builder's knowledge now to where I can do a walkthrough. I'm not going to say it's an inspection because that's a whole nother monster that you're dealing with, right? Yeah. But I'm going to walk through and say, hey, this house is clean. We're going to do the inspection, but I bet you there's nothing wrong with this house.
Yeah. After a certain time, you can tell.
For sure. Yeah. And then I will say, but this is not my house. Yeah. You're going to be living in it. How do you see yourself in it? Do you see yourself raising your children in it? Do you see yourself waking up Sunday morning and making breakfast in it? Huh. This is your house, not mine. And so it always goes back to them. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it? Yeah. And tell me the truth. It's not gonna hurt my feelings that you don't like this house that we're seeing. Yeah. Like, I want you to be happy,
Yeah, no, that's great. What would be the biggest advice you give someone who's looking to get into, developing land or building for themselves? What would be your biggest advice for them?
Oh, research.
Oh,
Go to the city. Ask all the questions that you can.
yeah.
Like, even if it sounds stupid, literally go into the city hall, say, who do I need to talk to about developing this? They'll say, the engineer. Okay. And you go to the engineer office. Hey, is this developable? Well, what means by that? They're going to give you some, like, stupid answer.
Yeah.
Well, I want to build a house on it. And I'm being as simple as possible because I literally started like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to build a house on it. Okay, what kind of house? 1,200 square foot. Okay. Does it have water and sewer to it? Yeah. Okay. Boom. Now you have a buildable lot.
Yeah.
All you got to do is make it happen, right? 9 out of 10 times they're going to tell you, because if it's a landlocked deal, there's no utilities to it, all that, they're going to tell you that because they know that you're about to spend like $5,000 in paperwork to get a building permit that's not going to get approved.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to see that because they want people to build, So be stupid. Ask questions. Act like you've never done it, even if you've done it a million times.
Yeah, and a lot of the questions are there. Like, the city of Arlington has a city planner that sits there, and they literally, you could take them anything, and they'll answer. Like, obviously you may have to wait a little bit, but like, I think, one thing that you just really said is like a lot of people have wants, you know what I mean? And a lot of people want to do things. A lot of people, you really have to do it by it's step by step. You got to go get the funding. Okay, I got to go talk to a bank. I got to go talk because, it's a lot of money involved. So, and like you have to go ask these questions. You got to really just be like, hey, what is the process? And I mean, it does sound, it's a huge project. It's not difficult, but it is. But if you ask the questions, if you keep going to people, if you like, that's the thing is a lot of people, they're too afraid to ask questions. They don't want to sound dumb.
Yeah.
So, if you go out there and put yourself out there, you'll get the results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like a lot of times, what's the worst thing that can happen? People will say no. I don't want to share my contacts with you. But that fear holds back people so much.
Yep.
So what advice would you give to people to kind of get over that and how to kind of combat that?
Dude, exactly what you said. The worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah.
That's literally the worst thing that they can say or anyone say. And if they make you feel stupid, awesome. That means you don't know what you're talking about. Until you know what you're talking about, even then you're going to have some top shot engineer that's going to come in and just shit all over you. And once you're in those rooms, then you're like, man, I shouldn't even be in this room. How did I make it here? And I've had that happen where I'm sitting in the room with, 3 engineers that are working at the city officials. And I even had this happen with an seasoned engineer that I hired. He did all this stuff on vacation and with actual calculations. And they literally told him, no, that's wrong. This is the updated. And his whole math, all of his math on this project was done. Yeah. And he literally just tucked his stuff in. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, you're right, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But he didn't take it he just took it to the chin because you have to take that. Take the L.
Yeah.
And
like, you don't want to, if you're the brightest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong rooms, right?
Dude, all day.
Yeah.
If you're the brightest bulb, man, get out.
Yeah.
Because you're in a dark room, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's it.
Yeah. So what is one book that you would recommend for people to read?
Oof. One book.
I mean, I know one that you recommended to me, Sell It Like Sirhan. That was that's a really good book for any salesperson. I know you watch. I know you avidly watch his videos on YouTube, and so you recommended his book to me, and it was a great book. So, is there any other books that you could think of that you'd recommend to someone?
Trying to think the ones that I just, Burn the Boats, but I don't want to say that. What's the David Goggins book? Whatever the David Goggins book is. I forgot what it is.
No worries.
But that took me to my savage mode.
Yeah.
Like, that's what turned me on to where it's like, oh, I can run for 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
And then once I started splitting that time, 2.5 hours running, 2.5 hours business, I became a monster. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're not going to beat me in this game or this game. And that's the mental game. Yeah. Because, dude, if your mental game's on point, you'll outlast.
Is there a quote that you live by? Any quote that stands out?
Oh.
Besides LFG?
Dude, No, man, I don't live by any code. It's just blessed, grateful, thankful, man. I say that every day.
Yeah, you do. Blessed, grateful, thankful. I think that's something that you live by. Any last things that you didn't share with us that you want to share with your friends and family? Any shout outs you want to give?
For sure, man, I want to give you a huge shout out. Because honestly, during this journey, I remember the first day that you called me and you're like, hey, man, I'm about to get my real estate license. That was back in 2015.
Yeah.
Whenever you were studying for the test. And I'm like, dude, this is it. Whatever. Let me know how I can help. And then seeing you evolve to who you are today. And, dude, it wasn't easy for you either. Yeah. Like, you didn't just someone say, hey, here's a real estate playbook. This is how you're going to make money, Nav.
Yeah.
You know, and dude, we were over there in Dallas, like making happy hour society and doing all, like, people don't even see that, you know, what we were doing there. But man, hats off to you. Congrats to you. Keep doing your thing. I love to see it on social media. I love to see the influential, you know, the influences that you have on people. Even the Singh Series, man, this is like next level. And having the production team over here, if you were here, you'd see there's like a whole crew back here, man. It's an honor to even be on this show, man. And I just want to say thank you.
No, appreciate that, man. Anyone else anyone, obviously
Jenny, Asher, fam, you know, all of them, man. And shout out to the Christy Hicks. She was the first banker and only banker that took a shot on me, and she literally changed my life. She's the one who got me approved for my first building interim.
Awesome,
and
man.
My first development. So, man, honestly, she was godsend, bro. So she took me to the level I am today. So.
Awesome, man. Well, shout out to Christy for believing in you.
Hell yeah.
And then thank you for all the love that you show always to me, my family, my friends. I mean, you refer me clients all the time. And, you know, I'm really appreciative of that. I'm so excited to see your journey. I wish you, Jenny, Asher,
Appreciate
your whole
it,
family, nothing but the best and, you know, lots of success. So, you know, excited to see what you do in New York. And, you know, we're ready to have you back. So, Jenny, move back to Texas.
And one last one. Shout out to Steve Arnold, my father-in-law, for helping me remodel that house. God knows we spent too much time on that thing and still do. But
oh, man, you got to shout out your mother-in-law, too.
Yeah, well, you know, Patricia, Patty, salute to you. Thank you for taking care of Asher.
Yeah, awesome,
and everything
man.
else.
Well, shout out to the whole Experience on Air team. You know, we wouldn't be here without y'all. So shout out to my boys, Abraham, Oscar, all you, George. You know, we're out here having a blast.
This is Hollywood, man.
I see Darren outside. Darren, come on in. We're done. All right, y'all. Take care.
Awesome, man.
Killed it, bro.
Oh, you killed it, man.